I'm here with Ashley Miller, snagged her in a corridor here, and want her to describe how she uses Folder 4 and I plus Q equals A.
Well, Folder 4 is the most unused folder with the most power that I have found so far. And inside of File 4, there's a health coach candidate follow-up tracker. I'm showing you the document. And we say to make 50, 100 copies. I love this thing. And so on it, we describe I plus Q equals A, but what's the I? I is identify. This is where you're identifying what can take shape for life, bring to this potential candidate. The Q is qualify, and qualifying means what can this person, this candidate, bring to take shape for life. And then once you have identified plus qualified, if the identify plus the qualify matches, then it's time for the approach. And I love this because on here it says, you know, there's a reference of a tool for some ideas for approaching, and you can keep track. How did you do the approach? Did you speak to them in person? Was it over a webinar, over the phone, group presentation, three-way call with a business coach? Or was it multiple things? And you can mark it off as you go. You can mark the follow-up dates. And then once they start, you can mark it off. And now you're gonna start them on a different sheet, which is going to track the coach's progress through Training Guide 1 and Training Guide 2.
So what do you do on the approach?
So on the approach, well, once the person is identified and then qualified, once I approach them, the way I'm going to approach that person is if they score well in the qualified part. So I'm looking 1 is best, 4 is not as best. And the different traits I'm looking for are, so this is how I describe it. Really, it's important to think about, what do you want your team to look like? What culture are you intentionally building? Because I've said before, you're going to build a culture, whether it's intentional or not, it's going to happen. I would prefer if I was being intentional, so I knew what my team was going to actually look like, act like, the values, how they carry themselves and whatnot. So that's what I'm going to qualify this potential person on, whether it's a client, a person I meet out and about, a friend, a former business associate, or whatnot. So some of the traits that it already lists, you can see on the qualify. True to program, that's only applicable if the person's actually done program, and we start coaches all the time that haven't even done program yet. So, you know, I don't get hung up on that. Ambitious, accountable. Ambitious is a great word. Attractive personality, super important. Are they self-motivated? Are they successful in other areas? And this isn't applicable to everybody, but are they referring friends and family? And those are some things you score on. Some other words I score on would be integrity, sense of humor, how fun they are. You decide what your culture is gonna look like. So then once I have people who've scored, and maybe the 1s and 2s, maybe a few 3s in there, but mostly it's a 1s and 2s, now I'm going to approach them. And the approach is usually by phone. If it's a client, it's on a celebration day, and I designate a celebration day where I'm going to approach the candidates. And if you're working through fears and you need to be held accountable, that's a great way to do it. So the approach is gonna sound like, I'll just do it. So the approach is gonna sound like, "Hi Kim, it's Ashley, how are you? Hey Ashley, good to hear from you. I know it's celebration day." "Yeah, it is. I wanna hear about how your health journey went this week. But before we get to that, I wanted to let you know, you're probably seeing in our client support group on Facebook, and you've probably talked to other people before that you've known. We're helping a lot of people get healthy just like you. How amazing you've done on program. At this point, we're actually looking at expanding our practice and linking arms with more partners, because I don't know if you know this, I actually spend a lot of time coaching coaches. I'm also a business coach, business leader, and I help other people grow their practices too, just like I've done with helping clients. So I had to tell you, I went through and I identified every client that I have, and I looked at a few traits that were really important to people that I want to link arms with. And just so you know, some of the traits I saw that I really admired in you were, I love how ambitious you are. You are a go-getter, and that is very important for people I'm looking to work with. You have such a fun personality. You're so bubbly. We've built such a great friendship. Even when we haven't even seen each other that much, over the phone, you have such an attractive personality. And I know that you've been successful in other areas. You're a very dedicated mom. You've had amazing success in other careers. I mean, you don't even have to have amazing success in other careers. It could literally be like,
so just bring up some real authentic, sincere
real
things.
Stuff. Don't make this up, because they're gonna smell it from a mile away. Just do real. Figure out, like, there's a reason you're approaching this person, so give them the real information. And so at that point, and I only give, like I said, 2, 3, 4 tops, because then you don't want to schmooze. So then from there, I am actually setting up some interviews this week with some hand-selected people, and you were one of the people I selected that I would love to interview. Would you be available? I have a few times this week just to set up a 30-minute coffee date. I would love to find out if health coaching would be a match for you, and if we would be a match to link arms with each other and do this together. How's that sound? And that's the approach. So at that point, I honestly hardly ever do I get a no. I might get a weird, like, oh, I don't know, would I be good? And I hand selected them. Of course they're gonna be good. If I get a no, and if we get even to the interview part and it's a no, I don't have a problem with no's, because
a lot of people coming.
Yeah, try to talk louder. I don't have a problem with no's, because what I say is, you know what, I'm so glad that you were honest and you told me that, because I am really serious about expanding my practice, and I really want to link arms with people who are really interested in doing this. You do have key attributes I'm really looking for, and usually people with attributes like that attract people that are accountable, that have high integrity, who have great senses of humor. So if you know people like that, would you connect us? I would love to set up an interview with them. I either get a second guess, and they're rehearing like these things about them, and not a lot of people in life are telling them these things that are real. We are authentic. We tell them the truth. We tell them things that we see in their greatness. And so I either get a second guess, like, oh, you know what? Maybe I would be interested in that. When's your next training? Whatever. You know, and we'll go from there. Or I get a, yeah, thank you so much. That's so sweet, and absolutely, I will definitely, there's already a few people I can think of that this would be great for, and I will get you connected. I will take the notes. I don't care. I just need the interview set up, and then we need an answer, and that's it, and we move forward. Most of the time, we're starting coaches at that point.
Awesome. Perfect.